Hello, everyone. I've chosen to present artist Amanda Williams for this assignment because I feel that her work, for me, really opens up an important conversation around community, environment, and permanence that I haven't seen before. I was first introduced to her work, specifically the series that I've chosen to discuss, Colored Theory, from 2016 in a virtual MoMA exhibit. The picture in this slide being the first one I had seen from her, and I just had to know more immediately. I was asking myself, why is this house bright red? Where is this? And a lot of other why questions that I felt I just had to get to the bottom of, and I thought this assignment would be perfect to do so. So I'm going to take you through this body of work by Amanda Williams the way that I learned about it. So we're going to dive a little into the background, jump into a brief dissection of the work itself, and then I'll kind of wrap it up with my some of my thoughts as well. Come on. Here we go. So this is a picture of the artist here, and behind her is her hometown of Chicago. Amanda is able to utilize the intersections of her education, race, and location in Chicago to create works that really speak to her experience as a Black woman living and working in the city of Chicago. She is a Cornell alum who actually did not go to school for art. She went to school for architecture. And this is kind of where her education comes into play, as her experience in architecture allows her to work on such a large scale with these houses. Williams' work and perspective is influenced by the environment, culture, and aesthetics of Chicago's Southwest Side, where she grew up and currently lives. The quote I have here: when you grow up in a segregated city like I have in Chicago, you're conditioned to believe that color and race can never be separate. I think the sentiment really speaks to Williams' experience with her own race and kind of foreshadows how she operates in this series as a whole. So, based on what we've seen so far, we can tell that Williams really has a heart and an eye for color. And she states that color theory and the way the brain treats color is a big inspiration for her. The book pictured on screen is one that I also have, Joseph Albers' Interaction of Color. And Williams states that after she read this in college, it became sort of like a Bible for her, and she was able to really deeply study and understand color as a tool. Another one of her big inspirations is her own community. Living in the southwest side of Chicago, Williams recalls that she has always been surrounded by these vacant lots and abandoned buildings that are just slated for demolition. So, quoting her, she says, living in an environment where a bulldozer means that something's going away and nothing else is ever coming back. It doesn't mean prosperity or future or potential. It means erasure of your history. Williams has a really strong focus on building community, and this near constant erasure of her community's history is only working to harm her vision. This experience in her environment, as well as with this book and her study of color, really sparked her drive to create colored theory. And the name is kind of starting to make sense now, I bet. So, on this slide, I really just want to take a minute to kind of digest some of the work. I have three pieces from the Colored Theory series shown here. On the top, the purple one is titled Crown Royale Bag. Underneath is titled Pink Oil Moisturizer. And to the right is titled Ultra Sheen. By creating this work and having it take off the way that it did, it kind of launched her, not launched her career, but it gained her a lot of popularity, this work. Williams is challenging this new audience, especially those who are from outside of her community, to confront their beliefs about color and race, which kind of ties into that quote that we read before. Amanda is asking the viewer the following questions, and as we're looking at these images, I think it's important to take a moment to confront these questions as within ourselves. So, I'm quoting her when I'm asking, what color is urban? What color is ghetto? What color is privilege? What color is gang related? And what color is gentrification? These questions really point to one of the meanings or contexts behind Williams' work. She uses her knowledge of color to match these houses with products and services predominantly marketed towards the Black community. For me, living completely outside of this context, I first looked at these houses and thought they were just very bold and colorful, eye-catching, meant to kind of draw your attention. But for those living in Williams community and living where these houses are being painted in Chicago, people were walking around, they were able to see these. Um, these products matching these houses would be instantly recognizable, such as the Ultra Sheen or the Pink Oil Moisturizer. Williams chose these colors based on her own experience with these products and services, as well as she asked her friends and family for recommendations of instantly recognizable products that they would kind of be able to pick up on right away. There is also a pretty heavy double meaning behind some of these colors, some of the choices she made as well. The map I show here depicts the Federal Housing Administration's use of discriminatory redlining, which I've defined on screen, which put the Black community of Chicago at a severe disadvantage and segregated them from the rest of the community. I might have to duck down so you can read it. So this double meaning really goes to show the level of care and the level of research that Amanda Williams puts into her craft and puts into the history of her community to further her meanings and further her just the deepness of her art as an artist. And then these colors, the blocks below the definition I have here were the actual like snippets that she used as her color palette for this series. So Williams did not actually do all of this by herself. However, she was able to involve a great number of people in her community and create a sort of painting team to help her with these houses. The pictures depict her and her team painting this orange house titled Hot Cheetos. Not only were the people painting the house involved in the art making process then, but the spectacle itself of these houses and these communities where people live being painted really created a space for discourse around the policies governing the treatment of these lots. I personally find these work in progress images of these houses really moving, especially the one on the top left, as they just show everyone working together towards the same goal, to further the same message, and I just think that's really powerful. Now, to wrap up, unfortunately, yes, these houses did still get demolished and are no longer standing today. Williams never did ask permission to paint any of these houses or permission for any of them to remain standing, but she also was never reprimanded for it. The actions on the part of the county destroying these houses or the governing body in charge of the removal of these properties, it really just goes to show how little care they put into the communities and the well-being of the community experience by just tearing down these lots. Um, there's also ties in another point that Williams was trying to make with this through the painting of these homes and the activism that came through that. Now, she was later recognized by the city of Chicago in the 2015 Chicago Architecture Biennial, which is just a huge architecture event. And she was recognized for her work on this project. Although it really launched her into fame and created a lot of conversation surrounded the work, she still acknowledged through that many people in these local neighborhoods were completely unaware of the event, which really brought up the disconnect between the powerful Chicago city institutions and Chicago residents. I personally really appreciate the visuals of this body of work as that's what drew me in intentionally. And the layered history and emotional weight that comes with those visuals is just really powerful. And I really enjoyed researching it, and I hope you enjoyed learning about it. Thank you.